Namaskar and welcome to StudyIQ. I am your friend Rahul Saigaonker. Today we are having a general discussion about UPSC Civil Service Examination and how to prepare for its mains. You do know that the UPSC Civil Service Examination comprises of three stages. The first stage is Prelims or Preliminary Examination, where you get multiple choice questions. Out of 4 options, you have to choose one and then you have to get a good score. Once you get a good score, you are now qualified for mains. That is the second stage. Civil services mains comprises of different papers where you have to write subjective answers according to the word limit provided. The third stage is the personality test, or colloquially we call it the interview. And you do know that your final list or your final rank, it depends on your mains marks plus your interview marks. So the final merit split, the rank, it depends on mains plus interview, not the prelims. Prelims, whatever marks you get, they are just used for filtering. It's a filtering stage. The rank or the merit list, it depends on mains performance and interview performance. So mains is extremely important to decide what you get. Do you become IAS, IPS or IRS? It is decided mainly on the UPSC Civil Services mains examination. So very important discussion, right? The next question, sir, why are we discussing this? I received many queries from aspirants, from students asking questions related to mains. One of the recurrent theme is, sir, when do I begin mains answer writing? Or how do I begin mains answer writing? Another question is, sir, I'm not able to manage my time. I'm not able to write 20 answers in 3 hours. That's one of the questions. Recently, I received one more question, a very interesting one. One of the students asked, sir, can I prepare for mains without any test series? Basically, I want to learn answer writing, or I want to improve my answer writing skills without paying anything free of cost. All right. So I thought let's take up all these questions together and discuss a session or have a session on mains answer writing itself. And I'll be giving you some input, some pointers, advices based on my own personal experience. Again, this is not something written on stone. Whatever I'm telling, that it's not something written on stone. It is something that I'm telling you from my own experience. You may follow it or you may not also. That's why I tell always that every individual has their own strategy. There are 1,000 toppers, there are 1,000 strategies. So I'm telling these advices from my own experience. And I've qualified 3 minutes, I've given interview 3 times. So there is a little bit of merit in these words, of course. All right. Right. The first question that every aspirant has is, sir, when do I begin? Now this is a conundrum that everybody faces, because once you start your journey, you have charted out your plan. You say, sir, I'm right now for the first 1.5 month, I'm reading my NCRTs, but I don't know when to begin my answer writing. I would say ASAP, that is as soon as possible. Now that depends on the database that you create. Please remember, you need some basic idea or basic information to begin your answer writing. The first step before you start your preparation or read NCRT also is to understand the examination. Of course, you have understood the examination. There are 3 stages. You have seen previous year question papers to understand the level of competence that you need. And then you start reading your NCRTs. But once you have enough database for any topic, say any topic connected to polity or geography or history, you think that you have gained enough insights into it so that you can say club together 150 sensible words or 250 sensible words to answer that, you begin. That's the basic idea. And I would say as soon as possible. Once you think you can start, say on one particular topic, you have enough fodder, begin your answer writing. And please try to understand that beginning phase itself is very important. And what I have observed among students is many times why they write, because they have self-doubt. Many students, they do not attempt answer writing because they have fear. They have fear that they would be judged. They have fear. There is something called as imposter syndrome. Now you write one answer and you think, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve to prepare for UPSC itself. Right? That imposter syndrome, it leads to doom of an individual. Right? Don't fall for that. Because you need to understand that answer writing is a skill. Expressing yourself on paper, it is a skill, and that you have to improve slowly and steadily. The first thing why I'm telling you is to begin today is you start building that habit. Answer writing has to be inculcated first. Every day you have to write answers, and those skills have to be improved continuously. So inculcate or cultivate that habit and then slowly and steadily improve. Please remember this. The day you write your first answer, you will feel that this is not a very good answer. This is not up to the mark. It is quite understandable. Nobody writes a good answer on day one. Nobody writes a good answer on day one. No one. Be it any topper, rank 1, rank 2, nobody writes a good answer on day one. So answer writing is a skill that has to be honed continuously. Every aspirant struggles, they feel underconfident, it's very fine. But begin that process. The entire answer writing and its preparation, you need to follow one policy called as Kaizen. It's a Japanese continuous improvement policy, although it is a management concept, right? They use it for management, they use it for production, but I think Kaizen is a concept which is important in everyday life itself. Kaizen basically means incremental and continuous progress day after day. And that is what you need for your UPSC answer writing. Because on day one, you'll write, say, mediocre answer. I would say bad answer. I have read so many bad answers. That is not an issue. In fact, when a student comes on day one, I read the answer. If they have understood the question, that is also enough. But many times, aspirants do not do that also. They ramble. One of the answers I remember almost 4 or 5 years back, one of the students came. It was a question on PDS, and the student had written, literally copy pasted the article that came in newspaper. Then I said, this is not answer writing. This is actually copywriting, copy pasting, and that also you have not done correctly. All right. So it happens. You need to go through this journey. But I was very happy that he started. Right? He started. Then I told, this is not exactly what you have to do. What you need to do is understand the question and then express in your own words. Then students come and say, sir, my English is not good. Then I say, no problem. It's not a test of English. It's a test of your knowledge. If you're able to express yourself, write in a legible handwriting, that is more than enough. All right. So begin today. If you think you have enough database, start answer writing today. Then you think, sir, where do I get questions from? Start from the questions that are from NCERT. I discussed recently. NCERT is the base. You take up those NCERT questions to start with, the exercise questions, or you can get so many questions, so many papers, etc. online as well. You can start from that. Previous year questions are also very best to begin your answer writing. So start step by step. Take up some basic questions from the NCERT exercise, then take up some basic foundational questions, and then you can move towards more expert questions which are connected more and more with current affairs. All right. So begin today. The next thing is, sir, how do I start? How do I start? How do I start writing? Or what are some of the qualities of a good answer? You do know, when you start, you follow the template. It's not similar to the university level answer writing. You have a basic idea that you take up a question. You need to have this thing in mind, that I have to introduce in short, I have to explain the main concept in the body and conclude it. So IBC is the idea: inclusion, body, introduction, body, and conclusion model. Keep that template with you forever throughout your UPSC journey. That means any topic that you take, a couple of lines to introduce the idea, that you know it, then address the main issue in the question, and then conclude it. Then there is a question, so is there a hard and fast rule I have to follow it? It makes sense. Many a times, in some questions, the conclusion is quite automatic. They must have asked measures, etc. You can mention those, but introduction is a must, right? Always, yes. Then the next step for you is not to start writing blindly. Understand the question. When I say question, understand the demand of the question. Extremely important. This part is extremely important. Try to understand what the question is asking from you. Now, what I felt is, many times I have assessed, I think, thousands of answers, thousands of papers from students, and I have observed one particular mistake from them. And that mistake is, in that paper, they are expressing or they are telling you what they know, which is a big problem. I think it's a human nature itself. Everybody wants to tell something or the other thing. They simply want to give some idea. There are so many free advisors available everywhere. All right. So aspirants, what they do is, they don't address the question or the demand of the question. They simply say, I know this, I'm writing this. I've seen it so many times. Don't do it. And this happens because of confirmation bias. Why? Because aspirants, first of all, they're underconfident to begin their answer writing. As soon as they see a familiar concept, They start writing. They say, I know about this. I'll write entire story about this. You have limited number of words, 150 words for say 10 mark question. For 15 marks, you have 250 words. So limited number of words, use them very wisely. It's not about your knowledge, right? It's about how you mold your knowledge according to the requirements of UPSC examination. Please remember this. This is a recurring theme where students, they say, you ask me about climate change, I write entire story about climate change. Understand the question. Let's talk about this itself. Say for instance, see, climate change is one classic topic where I've seen so much of bad stuff written by students. The question is asking something, they are harping on climate change, they're harping on United Nations framework convention on climate change, they're talking about so many things. They know, they have facts with them, but the core question that was not addressed. Say for instance, I ask you a question that because of climate change, what is the impact on the world's oceans? Now you see climate change and you start writing. You write global warming, greenhouse gases, climate change, all this thing is happening, deforestation, overheating. It's not asking about all those things. Yeah, probably in your introduction part, you can talk a little about that, but try to understand. It is specifically asking you about climate change and its impact on the oceans of the world. How would you address it? Try to understand, look at the impact of that. All right. So this is the question. Understand the question demand and then start writing. And before you start writing, this is the most important advice from my side. Brainstorm and outline your answer. And this is the most contentious part which I advise also. Believe me, I can give you many personal examples where I have told aspirants to do this and they say, sir, this is an absurd idea that you're telling. Why? Because I'll be wasting my time. Now, why I'm telling you this is to think what the question is asking. If you have a decent enough structure in your head, start writing the answer then. See, let's have a small exercise, right? For instance, how to follow that brainstorming idea. Now, I asked all the students, why do you have to brainstorm? Why do you have to brainstorm? Because you collate all your thoughts together. You create a small cloud where you note down all the points. All right. This is what you do for your essay as well, right? You have essay. For essay writing, there are only 2 essays to be written in 3 hours. So what you do, you put in your effort for 1 hour, almost half an hour, or 40-45 minutes, only thinking, only brainstorming, thinking about so many pointers, and then you write. Why? Because I want that flow. I want to cover the different dimensions. I want to cover more and more pointers. I want to give more examples. I want to create some anecdotes. That's why I brainstorm. I tell, why don't you do it for your mains as well? Now you think, sir, for mains answer writing, I hardly have about 9 minutes, right? I have 9 minutes to write an answer, correct? Because 20 questions, 180 minutes, so 9 minutes per answer. Depending, again, you might say, sir, I have 10 minutes, 11 minutes for 15 marks. That's very fine. On an average, you have 9 minutes, approximately. So tell me, how many words can you write in, say, 8 minutes? Test it today. I'm quite sure in 8 minutes, you will be writing more than 300 words for sure. If you have decent handwriting and you have decent speed of writing, you would be writing 200 to 300 words for sure, something in between. And if you're doing this, then you are very good to go. What I am telling you is not even this 8 minutes, just take initial 1 minute to think or brainstorm or assimilate what the question is asking you. Why I'm telling this? Because when you begin your answer writing, you can even create this cloud or write it on paper itself. But slowly and steadily, as you improve your answer writing, as you improve your database, as you improve your interconnection, this thing can be done in brain itself. That means there is no need to write also. For instance, say I read a question. I asked you a question that impact of climate change on oceans. All right. Now I read it. I understood it. I took up about say 15 seconds to read the question and understand it. Then I'm brainstorming now. If I'm brainstorming, it is asking about climate change. Okay, I'll be writing about climate change. I'll mention something about greenhouse gases, global warming, maybe in initial part. But how does it impact the oceans? If I think, because of climate change, the glaciers are melting. So because of glacier melt, the ocean level would be rising. Yes. Because of global warming, the ocean temperature would be rising. Yes, of course. Because of climate change, I have already read reports about say ocean acidification. I have read about ocean stratification. That means characteristic of water is changing. So I came up with 4 to 5 pointers now itself. And in oceans, I do find living organisms. So what would be the impact on those marine organisms? Just I got already 5 dimensions. That is more than enough. Then I start writing. How much time did I waste? Hardly 30 seconds, 40 seconds, right? But once you do it, once you think what you're going to write and structure it, if you begin, then throughout your next 8 minutes, you will get a lot of other pointers as well, right? I can think about say ocean stratification. I can give a pointer of ocean stratification. I can talk about because of climate change there is impact on the marine organisms, especially the organisms which have shells, right? Such other things, they come up during the thought process itself. So before you take your pen and write, think. Why? To eliminate the confirmation bias. I told you one of the students, not the same student who copy pasted the newspaper article, but there was one more answer which I read on PDS, okay, public distribution system, and the question was asking about public distribution question and how can we improve it. Basically, a question something like that. In the first page, he had hardly 150 words or 250 words. In the first page, he described me everything about PDS. He wrote PDS. He also wrote history of PDS. When did it start, etc. Everything. All those things are not needed. If you want to begin, just give a small note, introductory note about say public distribution system. Then come to the issue. Come to the core. The question is asking you what are the problems of public distribution system in India and how can we rectify those. So PDS introduction should be short. Conclusion, sorry, the body mainly should comprise of the issues that we have. Include more and more examples. Think what is happening, right? There is a lot of black marketing or in PDS system the beneficiaries, the bogus beneficiary issue. So think on these lines. Brainstorm for say 30 seconds. Now students argue with me. They argue, sir, whatever idea you told here, it is not helping me. It is taking too much of my time. I say, very fine. Initially, it will take a little bit of time. But as you are used to this quick brainstorming for mains, believe me, your answer quality will improve with time. Initially, even if you take 1 minute for brainstorming, that is also very fine. But in the mains examination, by the time you are ready for there, I would say you would take hardly 30 seconds for brainstorming. That brainstorming is literally inside your brain where you're thinking, what do I know about this topic? What is the question asking? How can I address that? That's it. All right. You don't even need to write anything on paper as well. This will bring a great quality and great flow to your answers. All right. Right. And then the important point is presentation. Now this can be done during brainstorming. How do you structure? Say I would be writing subheadings. I would be writing rise in sea level or say ocean acidification, ocean stratification. How do I present it? You can make a gist of that and start doing it. Again, presentation means try to underline some important pointers. If you're putting in some examples, highlight that. The entire idea of this exercise is to help the evaluator not to tell that you have knowledge, but to tell you have knowledge to comprehend, you have understood the question, you have addressed it. Try to show that to the evaluator. And that is the meaning of presentation. A legible handwriting is a must. Legible means the other person, if he or she is reading, it should be able to be read, basically, right? That's the basic idea. It's not like you need some great calligraphy skills. You don't need flowy language as well, right? Simple language, legible to read, and help them take to the core of the question. If you're asking the question about issues, take them to the issues right in the body. All right, that's the basic idea. Presentation means that. All right. Now, apart from this, there are some other questions that aspirants have. Many people come and say, sir, how do I write? Do I follow a paragraph model or a bullet point model? I say this is up to students' convenience. For GS papers, yes, I would say bullet point format can be followed very easily. But if it is your optional paper, especially humanities paper, essay paper, optional paper, do not follow bullet points. Strong advice from my side, especially if you're from political science and international relations, even if you're from sociology, anthropology, try to, I would say, follow paragraph model for your answer writing. Avoid bullet points. It's not like a hard and fast rule to completely let that go, but try to inculcate habit of paragraph style answer writing for your optionals. For GS, it is very fine. For GS, anything. In fact, for GS, if you're running out of time, bullet points are much easier. Right? Even for ethics, a mixture of this would be advised from my side. All right. So paragraph or bullet points, no hard and fast rule, but for optionals and for essay, it is a must. I would say strongly advise go for paragraph. All right. Now the next question is, sir, I am facing a lot of problem to begin. First of all, beginning my answer writing, then how to begin, especially the introduction and conclusion conundrum. Now this is something that I have observed with aspirants many times. They don't know how to introduce or how to begin. All right, there is nothing called as a great introduction. There is always something called as a correct introduction. That's it. Right? In many questions, you have conclusion part in that question itself, where they're asking you, say, analyze the issues and give some measures, recommendations. Those measures, recommendations itself, they become part of your conclusion. All right. Now, introduction is something that many people suffer, but you can create some templates for that. For instance, say if it's a polity question, you can start off with mention of the article itself. See, if it is a question connected to election, article 324 can be mentioned. If it is governor, article 154, 155 can be spoken of. Discretionary power of governor, article 163, article 200, 201 can be mentioned. So say if it is about UPSC, article 312, so many things. The polity answer writing beginning is with the article, it's easy. For history, again, you can create some short anecdotes, or maybe make a note of different quotes. You can even start the answers with quotes. Do not follow the same template for everything, but follow templates for each and every, say, subject or each and every topic. All right, you can use quotes. And again, introduction, please remember, introduction and conclusion, they need not be very huge, especially for 150 words. You don't need a very lengthy introduction, hardly 2 lines or 3 lines, and that is basic definition. If a question is asking about topic, basic define in very short terms. You can use different articles, you can use some sort of data for your economy based answers. All right. So using this, you can start, introduce and conclude. Again, it seems tough at the beginning, but slowly and steadily, once you practice more and more, build your database more and more, come up with more and more ideas and templates, it will help you in your answer writing. All right. Now the next question is very important, sir. How do I manage time? This is the most important question. They say, sir, it's 3 hours. 3 hours. So I have to complete 20 questions, and I'm not able to complete them. Believe me, I still remember. I think it was 2013 end, 2013, 2014, and 2013 end. Yes, when I first wrote my test series. Okay, and there were 20 questions in it, and it was a polity test. I remember 3 hours I sat there, and after 3 hours I saw the time. You know how many I finished? I finished seven questions in 3 hours, and I was like, "What is this? This is so bad." In 3 hours, it is innovating as well, because you have to write, and at that time, see, the pen won't move itself, because you're thinking. You have to build your database. In your initial stages, you feel a lot of fear, yes, but again, how do you manage your time? I would say, start slow. Initially, start to crawl, then start to walk, then start to run. The meaning of this is, don't sit for 3 hours and write your answer writing at the beginning. Do not start with 3 hours. I would say, just allocate hardly 30 minutes for your answer writing every day in the initial level, and in 30 minutes, try to answer just 2 questions initially. That means I would say 15 minutes per question. It's a good time to begin. If you're taking around 15 minutes to write one question when you're beginning answer writing, it is actually good, quite impressive, I would say. Why? Because, okay, you're thinking and then you're writing, you're putting in 250 words in 15 minutes, very fine. The intention for you now would be to reduce this time and to bring it to 9 to 10 minutes. Then you are good to go. Slowly and steadily, it will happen. So start start in smaller chunks. Start in smaller chunks. Take up only 2 questions every day, and in half an hour, write those 2 questions. Then challenge yourself, probably after a couple of months, 2 months, 3 months. In these 30 minutes, take up 3 questions. I think would be good to go. If you're able to finish 3 questions in 30 minutes, it's good to go. Once you feel comfortable, okay, in the first 30 minutes, I'm able to write 3 questions, then I'll extend it to say 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. Then you can take up a complete test series itself in 3 hours. All right. Now, again, another issue with managing time is, see, in a paper, you have to think from multiple dimensions. For example, if you have GS paper 1, you talk about history, you talk about geography, you talk about Indian society. You have to be very nimble in your way of thinking as well. Suddenly from history shifted to some other knowledge, it becomes a little tough. Yes, but slowly and steadily with practice, it will come to you. There are some other things which you can follow. The first thing is avoid your confirmation bias. Because of that confirmation bias, what happens is you always exceed your word limit. Remember to stick to word limit. If you know one thing, you harp on that for long and stop beating around the bush. Keep it very simple. Keep it very, very simple. Follow the word limit. If they say 250 words, even if you keep it below this, even if you keep it to 240 words, that is fine. But don't go for 300 words at all, because if you do it, you will not be able to finish within 3 hours. Next thing is keep it simple. Stop beating around the bush in your content. Express yourself in a very precise and a concise manner and keep it very simple. There is no need of flowy language, flashy words. Very, very simple things. Some other things are topic-wise preparation. Take up a topic and prepare notes for that completely. As I told you, say for instance, climate change. When you're preparing for climate change should be prepared from multiple dimensions. Impact of climate change on the forests, on the biodiversity, on oceans, on soil, right? So prepare from multiple dimensions. You will be ready with your content. You will have, or you will need very little brainstorming time. Topic wise preparation. Apart from that, for mains answer writing, I would say maintain a data diary and maintain a template diary as well. A data diary is something which will give you latest information before you go to mains. And in this data diary, keep on putting some information that you will use for your answer writing. Say from polity perspective, I would say keep a list of important articles that you have, that you need. Keep a list of important committees, commissions that you would be referring in your answers, or you would be giving a reference of that. For say economics paper, you can keep a data of India's economic data, say GDP data, the census data, population data, caste based data, or any sort of data that is, for instance, say recently I was reading that artificial intelligence is going to impact employment in different sectors, but how much? Take a report. You can even use that report. If you do not remember the report, mention according to a report. If you mention the source of report, it is very good, but mention the data. Say artificial intelligence is going to impact 27% of the jobs, almost a quarter of the jobs, especially in administrative and clerical domain. So make a note of that. All right. Say from history perspective, make a note of different examples that you have. For instance, say if you're making a note of your data, Gupta period is known for it's called golden age. It is known for many things. Now what happens is we get stuck only with one aspect. We get stuck only with the art or architecture. There is a lot of contribution from science, in terms of metallurgy, in terms of even administration, so many things. So you can take up all those dimensions in your data diary. Again, from current affairs, keep up the latest data here and have a standard template. This standard template, it is going to help you especially in your introduction and conclusion. It is going to help you in introduction and conclusion. All right. Why? How do I begin my answer? If you keep a template, that if it is a polity based question where they're asking about particular article, I can use that article to define, or I can use that article to start. If there is a topic, I can take up that topic to begin. Create those standard templates according to your convenience. All right. Now, if student asks me, sir, what is the meaning of this standard template? Do you have your own standard templates? No, those are my templates, and I would say only I would understand those. So you create your own ideas, that if If a question related to climate change comes, how do I prepare? How do I prepare that knowledge? If a question comes regarding, say, agriculture, how do I prepare? In agriculture, a standard template would make, when I talk about agriculture, that agriculture is going to decide, say, it starts with seed, it starts with land, problem with seed. Then I need to water it, problem with irrigation. Then I need money to begin. I have an issue of credit flow to farmers, credit flow to others who are involved in agriculture. Then comes your harvesting. What are the issues with harvesting? Then storage, then marketing. So keep a template ready for these. All right. And for answers, for answer writing, you can create separate intro, conclusions. I had this idea, right? There's a very nice word in letter and spirit. Now, whenever a question used to come, especially if they're asking about some bill, issues with RTI, in the conclusion, the standard answer would be to implement RTI in letter and spirit. That's the best part. All right. But again, these are some ideas that I'm telling you. These are not the shortcuts, but just an idea to make you understand what are the standard templates. All right. All right. Now, another advice from my side for managing your time would be the algo formula. Now, this algo formula is something that you use when you're running out of time. All right. Or you can use it in general also. Now, algo formula means use your algorithms, right? I gave it the term algo because you can create some algorithm, or you can create some sort of flow chart or some sort of a diagram to reduce writing of those words, because you're running out of time. So what you do is create some sort of algo flowchart or diagram and explain the question or address the question in such a format. Because say if you have last 1 hour and you have to write about 9 questions, okay, so what do? You have to shift to bullet points, you have to shift to algo forms. Wherever possible, I would try to eliminate writing maximum number of words, right? Say for instance, if there are issues to be discussed, issues with judiciary, now simply create a bubble, issues with judiciary, right? Issues with judiciary, write full. Right now I'm trying to explain, that's why I'm writing in short. Issues with judiciary, say there is shortage of judges, yes. Then the entire CPC and CRPC, you get a lot of time to complete your arguments, to file the charge sheet. There are 90 days. All these processes, all these issues can be written, say different pointers like this. Right now you're explaining also, but you're trying to save your time as well. Again, this algo formula is something that has to be used only when you're running out of time, only when you're running out of time, not the standard format. All right. Apart from that, you can always use diagrams wherever possible. Try to make India's map, right? Wherever possible, use diagrams to explain. If there are some questions connected to, say, cement industry in India, or coal industry in India, or coal mining in India, you can draw such diagrams and show where are these locations, and you can talk about issues separately as well, right? The coal mine here, say there is navally lignite, right? What are the issues with navally lignite? You can write some pointers here. There is coal mining in Dhanbad, in around Chota Nagpur plateau. You can write some issues there whenever you're running out of time. This helps. Of course, you're not going to get really good marks, what you get in your first few questions maybe, but if it is a 15-mark question, even if you get around 4 5, that would also be really great in enhancing your score. Clear? Right. Now, apart from this, there are some questions which student asks, sir, how many to attempt? My answer would be 20. If you are able to achieve this, this is the best. 20 questions, write 20 answers. But the I would say best number, or I would say the next best number, not the best would be 20. The next best number would be somewhere around 18 to 19. That is also good. If you're able to finish 18 to 19 questions in 3 hours, then that is a good attempt, I would say. Again, good quality answers, not something that you've written just like that, but good quality answers, 18 to 19, that is also very fine. Clear? Now, another question that you have is, sir, how to assess? Now, this is the most important question among students, especially students who are preparing on their own. So I am writing every day, but I don't have anybody to check it or give me some sort of feedback. Now, this is a problem which aspirants face many a times. Right now, you can find, in this age of digital era, you have so many communities. All right, you have so many communities. You have student blogs, communities where you can post your answers and get some sort of feedback. Again, you get decent amount of feedback from other students, but sometimes it can be a little damaging, because many times what happens is students give a lot of critical comments. They try to forget what is a good part in your answer, and they simply give you critical comments, which leads to underconfidence in a student. So community based community based evaluation is one of the ideas. Post your answers online, get some feedback from others. Apart from that, the good idea would be to create a peer group who are preparing, and they want to improve. Now in this peer group, whenever I say create a peer group, students ask, where do I create a peer group? If you have friends group circle who are preparing, then it is a very good thing. And ensure that each and every person is productive. One of the formulas that can be used is not to mention who is writing. If you have 3 to 4 students, try to rotate your answer scripts from one person to another person without writing names. All right, then later on you can simply pick it from there itself. This is one of the ideas. And if you have a peer group who have this habit of continuous self improvement, then genuine feedback can be shared among one another. Very good thing. Or you can also have a mentor, right? If you have a mentor, that is very good. You can do it. Many students, they do send answers on my email. Based on my time, I do reply. How can they improve slowly and steadily? That is also so. If you have a mentor, that is also well and good. All right. So I hope I have answered most of the questions that are connected with your mains answer writing. And many people ask, sir, where do I find a mentor? Now for that, we have an answer for you, right? StudyIQ's P2I program, prelims to interview program. It is one such program where we will be hand holding you through all the stages: prelims, mains, interview. For each and every stage, we will be with you. A mentor would be allocated with you right from day one itself. Not just one-to-one mentorship, you also have group mentorship, which will enhance your personality skills or your performance for personality tests. All right, and you do note that the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is going on right now. This sale is on till 15th August, where you'll get the entire program for 26,999 only. If you use my code Rahul Live, the classes are starting from 14th August. Please note this. Apart from this, whatever optional you choose, there is a lot of discount going on optionals as well right now. Every optional, if you get it or finalize before 15th August, if you use my code Rahul Live, you will get it for 12,999 only. These are the options that we are offering. Whatever you choose, do it before 15th August, because Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav sale is going on. And if you have any queries regarding any stage, regarding any programs in general, also if you have any queries, etc., you can always reach out to me on this ID at the rate Rahul Sai 22. All right. Thank you for watching this. Jai Hind.